Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of MC Fireside Chats. My name is Brian Searl with Insider Perks, here as always with Cara Csizmadia from the Canadian Camping and RV Council. We've got two guests with us today. Gavin just jumped on here at the last second, so hoping he can hear us now and we can hear him. But he's from Meska Outdoors. Going to have him introduce himself. I'm assuming because he waved, he can hear us now, which is fantastic. So. And then we've got Dan Smucker from Lancaster Log Cabins. Again, just going to let these gentlemen introduce themselves briefly here. But we're excited to be here talking about some alternative accommodations. These gentlemen are going to talk about a little bit about what they do. We'll ask some questions, and then we're going to cover some different articles that have come up in the news recently just about some of the services being offered, overseas here, and just kind of take a look at that and have a discussion with each other. So, Dan, you want to go first?
Sure. Yes, my name is Dan Smucker. I started Lancaster Log Cabins about 6 years ago, and we do a real log cabin on wheels, so it's classified as a park model. And selling the campgrounds is our specialty, so that's really our niche, and it's been going really well. So, yeah, glad to be here.
Awesome. Gavin? Oh, no, I don't think we can hear Gavin.
Can't hear him. Jeez, back and forth.
All right, well, we'll wait and see if Gavin can get his audio fixed. Gavin, we could hear you on your phone, but you couldn't hear us. So it was like the opposite. But he'll get it fixed. It's clearly our fault. We have the technology going on here and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get it ironed out. But in the meantime, Dan, you say real log cabin on wheels. Why is it a real? Like, is it wood? Is it solid?
Yeah, so it's actually a log home. I started off, helping my father a long time ago doing log home kits. So I just took what I knew from that and then just started doing smaller ones on a trailer frame, and that's when I started Lancaster Log Cabins. So it's, when I say real, it's the real deal. It has, real timbers. We don't do any fake log siding. There's no framing or pine board. It's all the real deal. So it's all Eastern white pine, real solid timbers. So that's part of the beauty about them, and it adds to the rustic appeal, which is what campgrounds really love. So it really fits out the appeal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just wanted to clarify, because you go to the grocery store and you see the real cheese.
Yeah.
You wonder, like, well, what is the fake cheese? Why do they need to
So, I'm interested to hear, Dan, if hearing about all of this lumber and things, how you're being impacted by that.
Yeah, that's been a challenge to say the least. It's been nothing short of a miracle that we haven't had to stop our line yet, but we're getting pretty close, to be honest. Just this week. On Monday morning, I started off my week scrambling, trying to find logs, and that's been an ongoing battle every week. I wage war on trying to find enough logs to get us by for the week, and so far so good. But this week it's probably tighter than it's ever been. So I'm just hoping and praying we can get some more. It's gonna be tight, but you gotta get creative because right now everyone is falling behind, and supply is still not meeting the demand. And it doesn't really seem like it's going to get too much better soon. I hope and pray it does. But yeah, so logs has been the big thing, and other things have been a struggle as well, but logs in particular, because obviously our entire cabin's made out of logs. So if we don't have logs, we can't do anything. So it's been a struggle, but we're finding ways to keep rolling so far. Hopefully it can stay that way. Yeah.
I did notice the price is coming down, at least in lumber overall. So, I mean, what really impacts you? Where's the bottleneck for you?
Yeah, for lumber prices, it's been better with certain things, but with like all the things we use, it hasn't gotten much better, which is tough. But and then metal's still going up, and that's not. They say it's not stopping anytime soon. And a big thing with us, obviously, since they're on wheels, each one's on a trailer frame. So, we go through quite a bit of those, and that price keeps going up. Metal roofs keeps going up. But logs is by far the biggest bottleneck for sure. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Gavin, do we have you? Are you back?
Let's see. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us? All right, awesome. So, Gavin, go ahead. Introduce yourself. Tell us what Meska Outdoors is.
Well, thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me on. As you can see, we're on location here in Black Diamond. So, probably why the technology is not really keeping up. But Meska Outdoors is brand new this year. We're kind of in the validation phase of our business. We've been going since May, and we're exploring some of those comfort camping, turnkey camping alternatives. Of course, growing up in Alberta, glamping when I was a kid just meant an RV, a trailer. and that kind of thing. And I think going forward, as we start to look at a generational shift, as outdoor tourism continues to grow, I think there are some other opportunities for other ways to get people outside, maybe demographics that aren't traditionally camping type of people. And that's really what we're exploring here with glamping tents. We've got these bell tents set up this year, and we're just getting started.
So where do you hope to take your business if everything goes perfectly the way it is laid out in your head, right? Because I'm a business owner and it never does that. But let's pretend it does for a second. Where are you hoping to be in a couple of years?
I've already learned that, Brian. Yeah, 2 months in, and I already know that most of what I'm thinking about that's a different story. But I think long term, if everything went well, I'm looking at building a resort brand out of Meska. So outdoor-based resorts, there's bridging a lot of different travel and tourism experiences from around the world, and bringing that home right here to Alberta.
Right on.
Now I think there was an article, Gavin, that you had in Woodalls. I can't remember what it was about, but refresh our memory because that was probably important. That's why we emailed you.
I think that is where you picked this up. Yeah, Cara and I were speaking a few months back when I was still looking for a location, and fortunately, I mean, as you know, the more exposure that you get with any idea, the more traction you get. And so I think that article came out in Woodalls, which I believe was picked up from the Daily Hive. A lot of what they were focusing on that one was our pet-friendly model. We are a pro dog site, which we found, I guess, with hotels and especially, again, more luxury experiences, a lot of folks have not been able to bring their pets. So I think that's what a lot of that article particularly picked up on. Okay. And then probably as well just kind of what we're doing, and we're getting started and introducing ourselves.
But now I think the difference between you and correct me if I'm wrong, but the difference between you and Dan is building the product and delivering them to the campgrounds. You're actually the whole turnkey system. You're not actually building the tents and glamping units, right?
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Can you tell us where you're sourcing the tents from right now? Which company?
These tents are from Belgium, so it's a company called Canvas Camp. There's a few different suppliers that you can find for these kind of things. Stout Tent is another one out of Arizona. Of course, if you wanted to do the online shipping option, I'm sure you could find some from overseas as well. But so we went with Canvas Camp this year. We had a supplier in Calgary who was a distributor for them, and so that made it easy for us to start. But yeah, so I don't build them, but this is certainly the style that we prefer.
Okay, very cool. So Dan, we know you recently just expanded, right, from all your demands. So tell us a little bit about, I know we emailed you about that article, but fill us in. What's going on? I mean, obviously there's a huge demand.
That's right. Yeah, it's been crazy to say the least. And we were busy before COVID, but after, it's been even crazier, which is a blessing. But yeah, so we moved into a new facility about 10 months ago. And, at first I was a little rough, like it always is when you make that kind of move. But now that we're situated, settled in, it's been a dream come true. So we basically almost tripled our production in a matter of 1 year. So we're doing about 2 cabins a week back at our old facility, which you would laugh if you saw that place because most of the stuff we were doing was outside as far as the assembly goes. So here it's real manufacturing plant, assembly line style. And now we're doing 6 cabins a week, so that was huge for us. Our lead time has always been extremely long, sometimes a year. And now since we have this new building and really good group of guys here, we've been able to whittle down at that lead time, which has been huge for us. So yeah, we're hoping to do even more next year. Hopefully 10 cabins a week come January. That's what we're pushing for. We need to find some more good guys. So yeah, it's going good.
But you do have the. Go ahead, Cara. Yeah.
No, I was just going to ask if staffing's been an issue for you, like we've seen in the RV park industry.
Yeah, it has been tough finding new guys, but I can say that I have been really blessed with the guys that I do have. We have about 30 employees right now, and the group that I have is a really great group. So I am very fortunate with the guys we have. So I almost have the mindset right now that I'm just playing defense as far as the workforce goes. I just want to keep the guys that I have. And we're looking for other guys, but we're not going to hire out of desperation because we have a certain type of culture here, and it has to be the right culture fit. And that's why I've been doing so well, is because we have a really good team atmosphere here, and we have a lot of good chemistry, and that equals higher efficiency and put out a better product, higher quality product, and that's what we're all about. We don't want to grow too fast and then jeopardize the quality. That's really number one for us, and that's why we've been so busy and been so blessed. So hopefully we can keep it going that way. So, yeah,
that's awesome.
So tell us, like, obviously we had the conversation, right, that your actual real logs and that sets you apart. But is there something else? Is there a reason that besides that really makes Lancaster Log Cabins stand out from your competitors?
Yeah, so I think it's a couple of things. I think that's one big thing, is that that's a niche of ours, and there's not many other guys who do park models who do a real log cabin. It's made more like a trailer, and a lot of those companies are great and they have a good product, but it's just very different than what we do. So I think that's a big part of it. I also think it has a lot to do with just the durability of the cabins, which is big reason why we like to use all real logs. We do real wood floors, all solid pine interior. Everything's made to last for life, and campgrounds love that because campers are going to beat the crap out of them. These can definitely take a beating. So they're just way different than anything else out there, and I think it kind of grabs that unique feel as well, which I know a lot of campgrounds are going for nowadays. They don't just want a typical park model. They want something that's different, something that stands out. That's just that unique rental, kind of like what Gavin's doing. It kind of fits that bill, and that's really the trend I see in the future, especially. Just way more unique rentals and something that just really stands out and gives you a very different experience as a camper. And I think that's exactly why we're so busy, because I think our cabins fit that bill. And then also, I think as far as the quality goes, I think we're top notch. Nothing against other park model guys, but there's a few companies out there who probably don't have that as high a priority on their list. But for us, we will never jeopardize that. I think that shows, that we're willing to go the extra effort with the quality, with the service. It's not just about pumping out a bunch of cabins. It's all about the quality. So I think that goes a long way as well.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pluses to that. I mean, there's obviously different types of campground owners who want different types of things at different types of price points, but there's always going to be that market for that really nice premium quality. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily market the you can take a beating thing, because you might
right.
a bad review who tries to call you out on it or something.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting to me, Dan, that you touch on this really experiential excursion that campers are seeking now. I think both of your companies really address that kind of need in the market, or desire from consumers to seek that stuff out. I'm interested, Gavin, I think in the article I saw there was mention of some unique community partnerships or partnering with tour or excursion companies and other sorts of businesses to kind of create this inclusive kind of trip experience for your guests. How is that going for you?
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I refer to as a facilitator business model, or an integrated business model, which is certainly a theory that I'm testing as maybe the future of these kind of things, where a place to sleep is just that, and then we can make it great. But on its own, it gets pretty boring pretty fast, or it can do, for some folks. And I think tourism-wise, what we're hearing is people are looking for things to do more than just places to be. And so that's really, we're going, okay, well, what's our part in that network? And then rather than just sitting here and having a passive, here's what we know that's in the area kind of list or a guide, we are intentionally pursuing partnerships. We are intentionally integrating with the community that's here. And we're saying, look, we've kind of developed what I refer to as this concierge level service, which at this point sounds probably a little bit weird for camping, but that's certainly where we're going with this idea of when people book, we are proactively saying, hey, look, here's who we've partnered with. Here's some things you can do. Would you like us to look into that for you? We can make that reservation on your behalf. We can do those bookings. So it's curated things that are very intentional, as opposed to just, I heard that guy was good down the road. It's here, let me give him a call for you, and I know exactly what you're going to get. And I think that's certainly what we're focusing. That's one of the things that sets us maybe a little bit apart when we talk about what differentiates, is that we are looking to build a network and a community of complementary businesses, maybe not all doing the exact same thing. It's just like, hey, look, what you do fits in real well with what I do, and how can we build something that benefits all of us?
I really love that concept that you've embraced. I think it's so vital to like establishing this really holistic community style approach to tourism and hosting guests specific to the camping space that we haven't seen before. And maybe that's something in the States. I think you're a bit ahead of us down there, but here in Canada, it's very much in its infancy, and I think we're also seeing lots of really specific focus from our government agencies and folks like Travel Alberta and Destination Canada and stuff to shift. I think COVID kind of pushed them to shift on the outdoor recreation market quite a bit more than they ever had before. And so those things that folks like you are doing are catching their attention and creating this environment where the policy frameworks and stuff like that will, I think, start to shift to support those things, as well as things like dollars, grant funding, better treatment tax wise and things like that than we've seen in the past. I mean, here in Canada, we've had some pretty significant federal taxation issues specific to campgrounds, and we've been working on that for a long time. So I think things like this will help to shift their perspective of our industry. And so it's so much more valuable than just, I mean, the day-to-day stuff you're doing is valuable, but it has this big, broad impact on the industry as a whole that for me, it's really important to highlight that stuff and give that some voice and stage time too. So I wanted to touch on that for sure.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of room for innovation in this industry. I mean, obviously you guys have your niches and your specialties that you're, in Gavin's case, finding still, but has a pretty good idea of where he's headed. In Dan's case, obviously successful enough to continue expanding and hopefully continuing to build on that. Obviously heard a lot of great things about your company, Dan. That's why we have you on here. But I think overall, as you look at the accommodation sector, right? Like this is, yes, both of your companies are continuing to be successful here, but it's widespread, as we all know. We've been talking about this for months, right? Cara, the industry as a whole, RV sales and rentals and the demand and the outdoors as a result of, or maybe not a result of COVID, it was just coming anyway. I mean, we're talking about, like we were reading in Woodall's, the Colorado Yurt Company is breaking ground on new headquarters too. Yeah. And so, they had an event with 200 people where they're, obviously increasing their manufacturing capacity. Cavco, I think, acquired Commodore Corp. So maybe Dan, is Commodore like another manufactured modular housing? So Cavco is.
Okay. Didn't even hear about that, but yeah, they're buying out everybody. So right.
Yeah, it was just yesterday. I think I saw it in Woodall.
Okay,
so,
wow.
Okay. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think we're obviously really seeing a demand in the market, and it's great to have, the ability from some innovators to start harnessing that stuff ASAP. I think it's only going to grow. It'll be interesting to see what the next couple of years brings on this front, but I'm excited to see where those things go. Gavin, can I ask you, currently you're operating just out of one property in Alberta, correct?
Yeah, so we're in Black Diamond, Alberta this year, which is just south of Calgary. So it's about an hour's drive or so from Calgary. And that's kind of our test concept phase. And a big part of that, what we did with this, and I think you and I were speaking about that a few months ago, Cara, was, again, with that facilitator model, is there room, rather than me developing an entire campground myself, is there room for this service model? Essentially, that's what I'm doing. I'm providing the service and the experience for the end consumer, but is there room on a supply side for a campground owner who maybe is like, what, I don't know that I really want to change clean bed sheets over every day. But hey, Gavin, if you want to come and do that on my property, we've already got the infrastructure here. We've already got the setup from the campground itself. This just kind of augments what already exists. And so that's what we explored with this location. So we are in an existing campground. We don't run the entire campground. All the trailer, RV rentals, and those sites are done separately from us. We're just doing our service with the existing infrastructure, which is another option we're exploring.
Yeah, I really love this unique perspective on it. It kind of brings another, potential, obviously great partnership opportunities and new streams for operators, campground owners, yourself. I think it's a great way to kind of get into the glamping or alternative accommodations world without, like you said, taking on that full service thing, which a lot of campground owners are daunted by because they're really short staffed and already kind of their buckets are full and can't really take more things on. So I really love that. We see a lot of glamping accommodations popping up in campgrounds, but I think it's unique the model that you've created, and so it's really awesome to see. I hope. I'm confident things will continue to go great for you on that front.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting just how this industry continues to evolve, right? I mean, we know that, and we've discussed in the show previously how many different types of owners there are in different types of parks and locations, and what people want and don't want is different for every single person. But even as you see this evolution into glamping with the different types of, tents and accommodations and cabins and wheels and not wheels and whatever, that continues to evolve. And it's moving so fast in such a way that, previously there was, well, I own a campground and I'm going to live on the campground. And then there was an owner of the campground, I'm going to hire a manager. And then now there's management companies that do that. And then there might be management companies, or there are existing like Gavin, who only do a piece of something. Yeah. And so I think as we continue to innovate and evolve, it's just going to keep changing. And the more adaptable you are, the better you're going to find a fit for your park.
Well, and it continues to make the camping lifestyle and the desire to get out and camp really positive, and that evolution helps keep it exciting. And not all folks want to camp the same way all the time for 40 years, and so to see that it's growing and evolving, I think really helps continue to capture the attention of our guests, which is incredibly vital for sure.
Yeah, I mean, from an awareness perspective, go ahead, Gavin.
Sorry, yeah, thanks, Brian. I was just gonna say, I think what we have an interesting opportunity as well, especially where we are, our landscape is an asset, and we see a lot of engagement on social media. Cara, you mentioned Travel Alberta, of course, they're just pumping out content constantly. But then, just like any business, it's that conversion from follows and likes and fantasy escape. Wow, what a beautiful picture! To I'm actually booking this. I'm actually going, and I think, Brian, that's exactly where the opportunity is, as you say, as the industry evolves, is to convert from maybe people that normally are just escaping on their phone and looking at a beautiful picture to, hey, actually, I can see myself doing that because of the way the industry has changed. We were removing some of those traditional barriers of, as you say, one spot that you're in for 40 years, or you're owning a big rig RV yourself, or, again, by breaking down some of those barriers, I think we have a real opportunity to convert from, as I just likes and follows, to people actually being out here.
And spending dollars.
So when you look at your business model, Dan, obviously you're already successful. You're already at that capacity and backlog like we've already talked about, right? So let's assume that you get caught up relatively quickly. Is there a way that you're looking at in the industry as a whole that you could see Lancaster not changing, but adding to the types of service offerings they have?
Yeah, most definitely. So, I mean, you always have to adapt. You touched on that before. If you can't adapt, it's not going to go very well for you, especially nowadays. Things are changing so rapidly. So that was kind of how we came up with doing these cabins. First we were doing cabin kits, and then evolved the park model because the cabin kits weren't going so well anymore. So we started doing them on wheels, and then it took off. And I'm sure there'll be another day that comes where we'll have to adapt again and change to something else. I'm not really sure what that'll be, but at this point, we're just going to keep making them as extravagant as possible and as unique as possible to really push that rustic appeal, that outdoorsy feel in each cabin. So I think that still sets us apart from most other guys, but just trying to find ways to enhance that even more so and really set ourselves apart. And who knows, eventually might even do tree houses or really anything. So we're really open to anything right now because, like you said before, you have to adapt for sure.
Yeah, I think.
I'm going to ask a whimsical Brian-style question. And I just would like to know, when you say extravagant, what are you referring to?
It's not a Brian question. I would speculate and like back him into a corner.
You just cut me off. What sorts of things qualify as extravagant?
Yeah, I would just say nicer kitchens. Nicer kitchens, nicer bathrooms. Things you wouldn't even see in your own home. So then it's kind of funny. You're going camping and you're in a cabin that has a nicer kitchen, nicer bathroom in your own home. It's just a little different. It just has that fresh feel to it. So just really going top of the line with more things and just doing the little things that really make a difference. I think with the end user, just saying, wow, like they did granite countertop, or they did, it could be anything, just to really, give yourself that edge. So you're not just doing everything, as plain Jane as possible. You're really stepping out and making it really, really unique.
Right on.
I mean, awesome. I want the entire Lancaster Log Cabin experience, right? Like you can expand into all different product lines here, right? You need the main store when you go into the cabin, into the campground, right? That's all made of solid logs, and all the shelves inside are solid wood, the counter, everything like that. And then when they leave and go to their site, maybe they could float down a river like in India, where they have them steer with the Lancaster, like the wood poles, and they can float on like a solid wood raft right to their cabin. And then it hooks up to a platform to the treehouse, right, where they can be raised up like on a platform, and then they can stay in a Lancaster Log Cabin.
That's right.
So this is what has come to my head with extravagant, because of all the time I spend chatting with this man. That's extravagant. But I'm all for granite countertops and all that stuff too. So I like a nice bathroom in my cabin for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that works too. Like you can have granite countertops, that's fine. And in the solid wood log cabin that's in the tree.
Right.
Heck, you can have, I mean, if it's a long river ride, you might have granite countertops on the raft too.
So,
See, that sounds like an experience. That's what you're talking about, Brian. And again, it's all about that experience, not just.
And Gavin can manage it.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, sounds great. That stuff is awesome. I really, I think we were chatting kind of before the show started, Dan, about there being a real kind of gap in the market here in Canada for access to products like yours. So, that's, Gavin's sourcing his tents from Belgium because it's difficult to get suppliers up here in Canada. So we do have a couple of companies now that are doing it, but are kind of behind and can't produce as fast as things are selling. So, there's room in the market for some more. So I hope to see, maybe some good partnership here with the association.
I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. So that's what we're hoping for. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. Really great.
Well, even for us on that, Cara, I mean, I would certainly prefer a closer to home solution. Absolutely. So I think there's certainly room for, I'd say, in Canada especially, we don't have a lot of production, and I prefer to see that change.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, it's interesting because folks are starting to pay attention to where they're spending their dollars, and some folks are prioritizing, supporting Canadian or supporting American or whatever. So, those things start to factor into stuff, I think, more than we've seen in the past. But I think there's lots of room for growth here still. So I'm excited to see that happening too as time goes on.
Yeah, the awareness is playing a huge role too, right? I mean, we've seen that through COVID with more people getting outdoors, but you're just seeing some of these larger brands and larger publications write more about camping, cover more about RV parks. Some of the larger companies are branding and creating their own unique experiences. Did you see the Pottery Barn thing, Cara?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I totally agree. It's between that and, our, like I said earlier, our tourism industry associations and government agencies starting to shift the focus. They were kind of forced to pay more attention because the hotel and airline businesses were kind of shuttered for a while there. And so, it's really opened the door to a different perception, even at a governmental level, of what our industry is and how much of an impact it has on both its local kind of community economies, but also in the big picture in terms of things like jobs and all of that stuff. So across the board, great things happening for us. I think which is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it's another interesting, opportunity there in the content creator community where we are uniquely positioned as outdoor businesses. As we've kind of gone through this phase on social media through influencer marketing, now of course the term is more content creator or the creator community. Again, that asset that we have as outdoor communities, that's where everybody wants to be. When you see us here in Southern Alberta with the mountains and hiking, there's lots of influencers that are doing those kind of things. Again, I think we have a real opportunity when we talk about getting attention or getting government agencies to pay attention, and that content that we're creating, as folks in the outdoor industry, we have a great backdrop for that. And I think, integration with the creator community is a real plus.
Absolutely agree.
I mean, I think we should just force it on these government people, right? Like CCRVC should just buy Airstreams for everybody in the provincial and federal government.
There you go.
We need many, many more members for that.
Well, Dan's going to join as a supplier member, so that's a little bit.
Right.
We can just up the goal a little bit, right?
Just a little, yeah.
Yeah. So.
One more notch closer. Yeah, you bet. No
But
pressure.
yeah, all right. So let's cover some of the, we're going to talk about some of these articles and some of the different things and just kind of get your gentleman's take on some of this stuff. We were talking about the Pottery Barn thing, right? There's a video. I haven't watched it. Hopefully it's not inappropriate, but let's watch it. And then we'll kind of see what your guys' take on it and what you think of some of these different companies getting involved in some of this branding and stuff.
Wouldn't want to work with Airstream. I mean, you see a trailer going down the road and just think that that is so cool. And for us to design a special edition trailer with the Pottery Barn interior look was just so exciting to us. We are inspired by the Pacific Coast Highway. The colors of the ocean and the sand and the fog really helped create the palette for this collection.
At Airstream, we want each of our customers to experience the adventure and the freedom that the open road gives them. That's why quality is our main focus, down to every last hand-placed rivet. We were so lucky to collaborate with Pottery Barn. With their experience and home savvy, we've created one of the most beautiful and coziest trailers yet.
The Airstream team had so much talent on their side from the engineers and designers, and our team came at it with the focus and the experience and the knowledge of fabrications and finishes and hardware details and all of the things that make it feel like Pottery Barn. We are two iconic American brands, and coming together and making that partnership of two companies that feel so strongly about craftsmanship and design that made it really easy to work together.
If you like Airstream and design, beauty, and attention to detail, you're gonna love this Pottery Barn travel trailer.
So I think this brings up a lot of questions. Go ahead, right?
I was just gonna say, I have seen this video because I'm coveting one myself. It's like my dream RV, my dream camping unit. So,
The Airstream or the Airstream plus Pottery Barn? Because I've been in Pottery Barn a couple times. I don't know if I'm loyal enough to Pottery Barn as a brand or even remember what it looks like to specifically buy an Airstream by them. But
yeah, no, this one. I want that one.
That exact one?
Yeah, that's the one I want. If anybody has a hookup or can get me an in, I'll take it.
It's interesting.
I thought that was the thing that he was working on too. There you go. Maybe there's your Alberta connection.
Yeah, no, I think so. Yeah, I'm. I've got all my feelers out trying to find one.
But I think overall as a whole, right, you watch this and you see a company like Pottery Barn getting involved with a company like Airstream, and obviously that was more of a marketing piece, right, talking about the expertise of both companies and trying to sell it. But people are going to watch that who are involved in Pottery Barn and may never have been camping before, or regularly go shopping there and have never thought about, you know, those kinds of things can be inside an RV. And it's just going to expand the audience, and those are different ways that I think partnerships can expand, right? I mean, I don't think Dan necessarily fits with a Pottery Barn partnership, but there's all kinds of people we can think of that he probably does, right?
Listen, we could outfit one of Dan's units with all things Pottery Barn. It would be stunning and gorgeous. I could see it. I can foresee it. It'd be amazing for you. But I think between that and things like, you know, you're seeing all over Instagram and social media, you know, all these celebs are out in their Airstreams and their RVs over the summer, and that's how they're getting to their tour locations now and all kinds of things. Like, there is this shift in exposure and perception from, you know, maybe the way things were 10 or 20 years ago, and that's boding really well for the industry as a whole. We're seeing it in booking numbers and RV sales and all of those things.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not just the companies; it's the, you know, you talk about the people who what did you say, that get into their concerts and stuff like that on tour. We saw that. Yeah, like if you look at, can you guys, let's see, I have to probably share that a different way. You know, that was in Fox News the other day. So, you know, Mick Jagger celebrates his 78th birthday with a glam trip in a yurt, and it was spread across all kinds of different sites. But those are the kinds of things that continue to raise awareness, I think, and just.
Well, it starts to really make that terminology more mainstream, right? Lots of people are like, what is glamping and what the heck is a yurt and whatever, right? So articles like this that have such a broad reach can just, you know, maybe that exposure to a yurt, somebody doesn't think about that, and then 2 years later is like, hey, I saw that thing, I remember what that is, that looks really cool, like, and now they're gonna book a yurt. Like, it's just such a great way to expand our industry reach, which is just fabulous. I mean, thanks, Mick.
Well, that's Will. I mean, he'll sell glamping units for campground owners. He'll cause people who really want to experience the same thing that he did to go stay in those tents and create a higher demand for it. And it's going to escalate. Like, obviously he's only one guy, but he's got a following, and more people will see it, and it'll kind of start. It's already started. The ball rolling downhill. It just keeps getting bigger.
As if Mick Jagger's 78. Really?
Crazy. That's what I was thinking.
Wow.
I mean, we can take the conversation in that direction if you want, Cara, but I'm going to hop off. I got more important things to do. That's what it is.
I'm sorry.
I think it's an interesting point. It's the terminology, you know, glamping, yurts, that kind of thing. I mean, that is key. I mean, when we were researching locations, a lot of phone calls I said, you know, we're looking to set up glamping tents. No idea. No one had any idea what I was talking about. And so that exposure and terminology familiarity, I think, is key. It's been an interesting thing here in this location. We're kind of in a town campground, so there's lots of people that walk around that aren't necessarily part of the campground. And it's almost kind of served like a bit of a showroom for that. People have seen the tents, and they come over and they go, what is this? You know, and I say, oh, well, this is hopefully the future, one of the future ways that the industry is evolving. But you're right, that familiarity, at the moment, we're kind of on the threshold, and we need to push that over the edge.
Gavin, do you foresee potentially transitioning to other types of glamping units, like outfitters tents and geodesic domes and that kind of thing, or are you going to go there?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a great point, Cara. Absolutely. You know, I said, for me, it's about creativity, and that's when I watch that video, the Airstream video, it's just firing my creative brain off like crazy. I love that collaboration kind of stuff. I find that very exciting. So yeah, I'm not limited to these type of tents. I chose these just because it's my preference to start, both on a cost as a startup venture kind of perspective, as well as just personal preference of what I like to stay in. But absolutely, you know, going forward, and I think we touched on. I think Brian, you might have said something earlier. Again, the idea of theme, you know, that is something that seems to be very important in the glamping field, especially. Is people go, well, what's the theme here? You know, what are we? Not just where am I staying, but again, what am I doing? And so I think there's all sorts of different structures. You know, Dan, even as you know, with what you're going, there's so many ways that we can build a cool glamping resort.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, the sky's really the limit, which is kind of what makes it so exciting. And Brian says all the time, we need to be kind of constantly adaptable and evolving and things like that. And I think um, suddenly there's this new kind of excitement in an industry that really felt. I mean, I was a campground owner for 15 years. It felt pretty much the same most of that time. This stuff feels pretty new, specifically to me, and it's exciting. I'm sure both on the consumer side as well as the operator side. So.
And it's not just accommodations that are innovating; it's the locations and where those things are putting, like Gavin was talking about, right? If you look at this recent article that came across in one of the alerts, is Camp Rockaway in Saratoga, New York.
Yeah.
And I got to get back to this tab here and just show you guys. But if you scroll down here, we can scroll through some of these images and take a look. I haven't even seen them, but just the location of where those tents are placed, right? It looks like there's a ladder there that you can climb down and get right into the river. I don't know if that's almost looks like stone couches, right? I don't know if that actually, they are made of stone there, but
Yeah.
some kind of, they're barrier walls. Okay. Just kind of benches and stuff like that with chairs inside them. But
Yeah. Cool.
yeah, just creating this different kind of experience, setting, colors, and then it appeals to more and more people.
Well, and it just makes it so accessible. I mean, you don't need an RV. You pretty much don't need anything. Jump in the car and show up, and it's there and ready for you, and can be. I think we've been talking for the last year and a half about things like staycations and exploring close to home and things like that. I know I've personally really kind of re-fallen in love with the area where I live because I've re-exposed myself to it over the last couple of years. So I think that's a pretty common thread, and this is a good way to be able to do that in a new, unique, different way. So I really applaud what Gavin's doing. I'm excited to see his business grow, and there's lots of cool stuff happening all over the place with this. I know we had a member join with the Lighthouse Accommodations out east, right, Brian? The spot that's
over in Nova Scotia, I think it was.
Yeah. I mean, they're converting old lighthouses to cabin style accommodations with units inside. There's some really great innovative stuff happening, and it's blows my mind. I really applaud everybody contributing to this.
Yeah, there was an article I read, I think yesterday. Again, we've seen so many of these come out, but this was in the Wall Street Journal, more mainstream. Said we've got it pulled up in front of me. I'm just not going to share my screen for this. A lot of visuals, but the RV vacation meets glamping as more Americans embrace outdoor trips, and so they're talking about outdoorsy, obviously the Airbnb of RV rentals. They're interviewing the founder of Collective Retreats about different locations, and they're partnering with to create an experience on Governor's Island in New York Harbor. So these things and I have to pay to read the rest, so we're not going to read the rest, but apparently. So, but you can see how it's just, again, the same theme that we're talking about: different experiences, different tents, different types of services and companies who are continually putting this at the forefront of the consumer's mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's an exciting world to be in right now. I'm loving it, for sure.
Well,
one of the things, go ahead, Gavin, yeah.
Sorry, Brian, even some as simple as you touched on, just outdoor furniture, right? They got those barrier walls in those photos. Imagining what a campsite is. We can get away from that traditional cake. We've put some gravel in the trees here, back your trailer, and there's a fire pit, picnic table. Well, what else can we do? All those things that we think of as consumers for our backyard, outdoor furniture-wise. Well, let's reimagine what a campsite actually is as well. And I think you're starting to see that there. And I certainly get excited about reimagining some of those kind of things as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a whole other discussion, right? Because we've talked about, if you look at some of the sites like Hip Camp, who are obviously a super controversial topic, right? For campground artists in some cases, but they're reimagining what campsites are, where they're located, what they do. I mean, there's this article I came across, and it's overseas in the UK, right? Bucket of Blood Pub in Hale gets permission for glamping pods. And this is obviously in the UK, it's a pub, but I mean, there's a use case for this, right? I mean, obviously you're drinking and you can crash and you don't have to worry about driving and putting other people in danger. And here I have to complete a survey to read the rest of it. But anyway, you can see the picture. Like and so reimagining those things and what constitutes a camping experience where you can put some of these cabins and accommodations is really, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what else have we seen that's out there that you guys have found is unique?
Oh gosh.
Nothing? It's all up to me? I mean, I found like 5 or 6 articles. Here, let's do this then. We'll play this. I got one more video for you guys. It's called A Living Vehicle. Again, I haven't watched it yet, so hopefully it's appropriate for all ages. But it's called A Living Vehicle. It's about an innovation in kind of a build of an RV, and it's focused on solar and green energy and stuff like that. So let's take a look at this and see what you guys think. So I guess I was hoping that would probably focus a little bit more on the features of the actual trailer, which it didn't. It was more like a fluff outdoors piece. But like I read the article, and it's focused more on, like, I've got it pulled up here. I'm not going to share my screen, but like it's up to, it maxes out at $500,000. It's a luxury trailer that redefines off-grid glamping, is what they're calling it. 2022 model, looks like more like a modern house. You saw some of that stuff, but it's got solar-powered air conditioning, 2 bedrooms, a home theater, skylights, a bidet, automatic lowering indoor and outdoor deck, all kinds of different things. You know, up to enough power to like stay off grid for weeks at a time, depending on the model you get. So, all kinds of just different things as they continue to innovate stuff, and more people get into camping who never would have considered it before.
It's interesting to see that, like, really high level luxury access to tech and stuff like that. and you know, there's obviously a market for that. And then on the other side, your question earlier made me think about there's a spot in Cape Breton in Nova Scotia that um, has these cocoon tree beds. So they're
Okay.
like suspended between all of these trees, and you have to like climb hundreds of steps or whatever to get up to them. But then you stay in this suspended, like hanging cocoon style accommodation with arguably no access to luxury features and all of those things. It's just really, really um, fundamentally like connected with nature and those kinds of things. So you know,
You're
it's
saying about
like
those?
sorry, let's see.
Oh, look at that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So they have, apparently, you know, obviously I haven't been there, but apparently they have a few units suspended in the trees. You can rent these for, you know, however many nights, and you kind of have to climb up and get to stay in there. So anyway, my point is just, you know, there's obviously this market for the $500,000 living vehicle or this really simplistic excursion type disconnection experience, which is so interesting to me. Um, I and I think arguably the same individual might seek both of those experiences because they're so
Yeah.
different, and that's what makes this so, you know, valuable to the industry is it's desirable across the demographics like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. Like, obviously, it's location dependent, but it's all for all kinds of different. It doesn't matter how much land you have or what type of layout you have. There's if you really want to commit to creating a unique glamping experience, yes, RVs to a certain extent, right? But there's still always going to be that challenge with RVs of you've got to have the driveway and the patios and the pull throughs. This has got to be level. Whereas glamping, like as you can see, they can be suspended from trees. I don't know. Like I'd be nervous of like what if it falls and you start rolling down the hill at night. But
Good Nova Scotia wind going out of somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, you know,
I mean, you could theoretically in Nova Scotia, it could roll down the hill, you could plop into the ocean, and when you wake up, you could be in Florida.
That would be okay. It's like a free cruise.
It might work, yeah.
just more experience, another experience.
Yeah, you could charge extra for that experience.
Yeah, no, I think you know, it's really cool to see this broad, unique spectrum of stuff happening, and like you said, the sky's the limit. It almost boggles my mind to think about all of the potential things that can happen in this industry. It's that really just limited by our own abilities for creativity and
Imagination and yeah.
imagination. Yeah,
You know, one thing that kind of spoke to me, Brian, from that video that you know, the more living vehicle, as you said, the Audi. Again, especially over the last year, you know, with more work from home that we've been forced into, that's what that one almost spoke to me more as. You don't have to wait for vacation time to go out in your recreational vehicle. It's that blending of what I mean. You saw the guy putting his shirt and tie on, and it looked like he was getting down.
Well, the huge desk space too. Like I would buy that for the desk space.
Right,
yeah.
And then go out on your stand-up paddleboard when you're done work, kind of thing. It's you don't have to separate your vacation time and your real life anymore. That's kind of what I thought out of that one. Was it's a blending of the two.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I don't know what's happened to my video. I'm still here, but Leslie's mentioning these free spirit piers. They look incredibly cool, very similar to those cocoon style tree beds, which is awesome. They're fascinating to me. I would love to see one of these in person for sure. I definitely would stay in one of these spheres.
Sure. Now I've got to look it up. I was just going to leave the thing there, but now I've got to see what these things actually look like. freespiritspheres.com.
Yeah, they're so cool.
These better live up to the hype after this. I'm going.
So then the ultimate question here, I guess, what do you think? What would you pay for a stay in something like that?
You know, it's funny. I get accused all the time of being spendy. You know,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, like I absolutely, to me, that's an experience. I would, there's pricing listed on the website from 300.
Everything around that should be Lancaster logs.
There we go.
I was just going to say, there's no reason, in my opinion, Dan can't be doing something like this. Come on, but
That's the next thing after park models, I guess.
Yeah, look, some of them are wood, the whole thing, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
And trees.
They're really beautiful. I would absolutely spend $500 a night to stay here. No problem.
Yeah. I mean, you could offer a service too, Dan. Like, see how they're tied with the ropes? You could give the campground owner an eject button if they leave a bag of fuel or they check out on time or something like that. Yeah. Yep. You're going to check out when we say.
Yeah. Time to go. They're really beautiful. I think they would be so cool, for a couple of nights out literally hanging in a tree like that. I mean, what a great experience. My kids would die to experience that. Yeah, we'd love it.
Yeah, this stuff has definitely blown my mind. I didn't even know this kind of stuff was out there, so I got to start keeping up with things a little bit. It's making me feel, a little bit like I need to be a little more creative nowadays. Things are changing so fast.
Right? Yeah, there's so much creativity out there. It's great to see. Thank you to Leslie, my favorite, for sharing with us. She joins us every week, and I appreciate her joining in so much. They're gorgeous. Leslie, you should put some of these in your park.
And it's safe from wildlife too, right? Like, you've got the light so you can see, but the bears aren't coming anywhere near you. You just have to worry probably about pterodactyls. We finally figured out Jurassic Park, but other than that,
yeah, no worries at all up there. I encourage Leslie to install some of these in her park so that I can come there regularly and stay, since she's so near me.
Yeah, we're going to need a sponsored visit to Leslie's park if she puts these in, so we can do a show from there.
Awesome. We're going to find a sponsor. Maybe Free Spirit Spears will sponsor us. Oh boy. Okay. Anyways, my whole point is arguably, considering like square footage and amenities and things like that, I mean, $500 a night or whatever I said I'd be willing to pay is a lot, but it's so much.
Well, you've set the benchmark now. Leslie was probably going to charge $400. Now she's going to up it.
Right on, Leslie. Good work. She's on it, she says.
I want it comp, but you can charge Cara for hers.
I'll pay. I always support my friends. I'll pay. No problem. I'll pay.
For mine too? Okay, no. There, she just volunteered. It's on camera.
Yeah.
Now you're on the hook for $1,000 for both of them.
I love to support my friends and their businesses. I'll pay. No comps for me. I would love to come and check out Gavin's unit as well. Gavin, how many units do you have out in Black Diamond? Is it just the one?
Oh, I think maybe we're having trouble hearing you now, Gavin.
Oh,
might be the internet.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I'm sure I can Google it and find out, or email you after this. But I'd love to come check it out. And then, Dan, let's get some Lancaster Log Cabins up here in Canada.
Let's do it. Yep, I'm on it for sure.
Right on.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
All right. Anything you gentlemen want to close with? I know we've got some trouble with Gavin's audio and stuff, but Dan, is there anything else we should know about Lancaster?
Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, it's a pleasure chatting, and I'm excited to see where the industry goes. It's things are changing so fast, so I better be on my A game. So yeah.
Well, it sounds like you already are if you're backed up and increasing production and all that kind of stuff. I think you're on your A game.
Yeah.
Not doing anything wrong, sounds like. Yeah.
We're just giving you ideas, keep you on your toes. That's all.
Leslie says, bring the rum. I'll provide the digs. What could possibly go wrong?
So there's three tents this year.
Awesome. Okay, cool. 3 tents. I love it. I'm sure you're probably booked, but I'll reach out.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I appreciate everybody watching another episode of MC Fireside Chats. Just a reminder, we are available on a podcast as well, so you can listen later. It's up on the website, mcfiresidechats.com. Really appreciate Dan stopping by, Gavin stopping by from Meska Outdoors, Lancaster Log Cabins, respectively. Looking forward to seeing what you gentlemen create and continue doing. In your case, Dan, Cara, thanks as always. And we'll next week, I think we're going to talk about news. It's the first of the month, just kind of cover some of the recent articles and things that have been happening in the industry. Maybe we'll get a couple guests on for that. We'll take a week off, and then we're going to do a super cool show about campground amenities. It's going to be from the most unique location that we've ever done before. Mobile. We're not even going to be sitting in stationary. So it's sure to be a disaster of some kind.
Yep, it's going to be terrible.
So, all right. Well, thank you all again. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.